actually the November, but we have it on January because of Thanksgiving, or December rather than because of Thanksgiving. So the December 5th, we'll just do it that way, meeting of the Bexley Board of Zoning and Planning. Matt, would you call the roll, please?
Oh, sorry. No, oh, I thought I had it all now. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
It's over here.
Oh, I put it over here. That's fine. You can say that. Mr. Turner?
Here.
Ms. Dorn?
Here.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Here.
Mr. Eshelbrenner?
Here.
Mr. Marsh?
Here.
Mr. Schick? Here. Chairman Behal?
Also here. Thank you very much. The minutes of the prior meeting were provided. As everybody had a chance that was here last meeting to review them? And if so, does anybody have any modifications or alterations, deletions they'd like to make? I see no indication of such. If there is a approval, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the would have been the October meeting of the BZAP.
So moved, Marsh.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. Is there a second? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. The minutes of the October meeting are approved.
Mr. Chair, should I make note that I just abstained? I was not present.
Well, I think anybody, we could vote by hand, I guess here. We could take since there were some people that weren't here, who was not here and did not vote? Ms. Dorn, Ms. Rosenthal, Mr. Schick. Okay. The others voted yes, so that would be Turner, Eshelbrenner, Marsh, and Behal. All right. This is an opportunity for public comment. Anybody who wishes to comment on the operation of the BZAP or its general protocols or functions is now has an opportunity to do so, but cannot talk about any particular case, but just the operation in general. Anybody here who wishes to do so? Very much. The first matter under old business involves application BZAP 24-28, also filed under 2431, involving 490 to 492 North Cassidy. The applicant is Jawad Khan and the owner is Bob Marshall. This is the application seeking a special permit and a variance from Bexley City Code Section 1254.17 to allow a food trailer / cart accessory use structure to be permanently installed on the side yard of 490 North Cassidy. Would the applicant, whoever's here representing the applicant, please come forward?
Chairman, if I may. I haven't had any contact with them and they did not. I left it on there.
Okay.
Keep it on there.
Okay.
They have not reached back out to me and the food cart trailer is not returned.
Is not
It's,
there.
It's not there anymore.
Okay.
They moved it a couple months ago and
Okay.
haven't heard anything.
All right. In that case, I guess we should table it probably. I don't know how we take it off. It has to be dismissed by the applicant. They can certainly do so, or we could do so involuntarily, I suppose.
Do we have, if it's old business, can we just not bring it up? Because it's already on the table, right? If it's old business?
I don't know. Can you not?
We have to vote to pull it.
Like I already have brought it up.
We would like to table it officially because then we don't have to notice it again.
Okay.
We table it to a date certain. If
That's as good a reason
for that.
as any.
And
All right.
it would be January
23rd.
23rd.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to table this case BZAP 24-28, please?
So move, Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Second, Eshelbrenner.
Thank you, Mr. Eshelbrenner. All in favor of tabling this matter, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously and this matter is tabled. Under new business, the first case is application BZAP 24-35 involving 470 South Parkview. The application is Santiago Alvarez and the owner is Jana Clark. The applicant is seeking a certificate of appropriateness and an area variance from the Bexley City Code Section 1252.17 to allow a 1,549 square foot in-law suite addition above a new attached garage. Would the applicant come forward, please, on that case? All right. Would the three of you raise your right hand to be sworn? If you're going to testify, that is. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to give this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And can I have your names, please? Jana, all right. Justin. All right. Okay. Staff, you want to tell us a little bit about this case?
Yeah, sure. So we had an in-law suite a couple meetings ago. This is another in-law suite. This is at 470 South Parkview, right kind of catty corner from our building here. It's R3 zoning. It's an interior lot. The lot size is standard for the R3 zoning area. The allowable size of an in-law suite is 800 square feet. They are requesting 1,549 square feet. So it's a 749 square foot area variance. I have posted on the staff report 1252.17, which is the in-law suite code. Again, I don't know, do you want a refresher on the difference between an in-law suite and an addition slash in-law suite is an independent dwelling unit that is attached to the primary structure. It must be lived in by family members of the owners of the primary structure. And again, an independent dwelling unit has all three characteristics of similar to an accessory dwelling unit. So bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom. There's a screenshot up here highlighted in yellow. So I'll let Karen talk a little bit about ARB actually, because this comes into play here.
So this case was before ARB, and I believe that officially they're sending it to you without a recommendation. The ARB was pretty adamant that this design was not an acceptable design. The applicant has showed a lot of goodwill, and they have come back with another design just a couple days ago. It is on here. I know you haven't had time to look at it, and actually design's not in your purview anyway.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to kind of show that the process is continuing.
Okay.
But if the Architectural Review Board, from a massing perspective, was not at all concerned about having an addition attached there, given the size, the small size of this particular house in the neighborhood, but they did want it to be more consistent with the style of it's just it's a great home. So this is, we don't need to get into it, but I just wanted to show you that it, parallel, they're working with me on redoing the design to better flow with the house, that it appear, so it really does look like one unified structure. If this board is okay granting this variance based on just the footprint, the Architecture Review Board would like it remanded back to them for a final design and certificate of appropriateness. Your other option is to table it, and in the interim, it would still go back to Architecture Review Board. But before they invest too much more time in design, we thought it would be a good idea to get kind of the temperature of this board for this kind of a variance.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here.
Okay. Very good. Matt, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay. All right. Who wants to be the spokesman and give us some idea? I mean, this is obviously a big square footage situation here, just off the top of my head. And to some extent, the board has to worry a little bit about, we're going to get a lot of in-law suite applications over the years. And this is the kind of thing where we have to be careful what kind of precedent we set, right? If you do it for one person, you got to do it for the next person. And can everybody in Bexley do this massive addition to their houses? That's just throw it fair. I'm going to throw it out to you because it strikes me as that's the most obvious problem here, but please. speaking to the microphone too, because it's on, we're being recorded and this is,
Can you guys, is this working? Am I
Real,
close enough?
real quick, but just so I understand everything, if this is a master suite, whatever, if it's not programmatic, the only issue is that it's programmatically, in terms of this much architecture on this site, that's not the issue. It meets all the lot coverage.
Correct. I
So
should, I
it's just-
should have mentioned that. I apologize. Yes, all the setbacks, all the lot coverage. The only variance is the square footage of the in-law suite. That's it.
Got it.
And to clarify also, I think what's confusing, a little bit confusing about this project, and I think that the presentation may clear it up, is they're also looking to achieve a lot of things that in addition, just for their family would also. So there's, I'm not advocating 1,500
Mhm,
square
mhm.
feet plus for an in-law suite, but I want everyone to be mindful that there's a lot of program mixed into it that is addition for the family as well.
Mhm, right.
It's complicated.
Yeah, we looked at it. Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I feel like for us, when we applied, we're calling it an in-law suite. But, that is really just one component of it, as Karen kind of was alluding to. Like the first floor is generally, the square footage is usable for the entire, home. So it has a, 4-car garage. So that footprint alone is, pretty much that in itself is larger than the house, given the small size of the house footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other kind of components we had to include, which is right down the center, is kind of a new circulation block. The house, given the historic nature of the house and when it was first built, the existing circulation stair is not really conducive for if there was any kind of addition added to this to the house. It faces north in the center of the building or of the house, and is kind of surrounded by the bedroom. So any kind of addition to the back without getting rid of any of the bedrooms as is would require a new stairway. And by doing so, we're kind of improving the the size of what you would kind of see in a stairway today. The
Mhm.
stair, I believe, is, I don't know, it's 3 foot. The landing is shorter than it is wide. I mean, there's a lot of issues with the existing circulation. So that's kind of why we needed to include a new stair in the back. And I guess I should have prefaced that the project is for Justin's parents, who his mother is suffering from Alzheimer's. So the reason this project even came to fruition or on the table was that they would like to move in with them. And so there was a couple circulation needs there. There's an elevator in that new circulation block. There's 2 more adults in the house, so there's 4 adults with cars. So kind of the 4-car garage kind of was a needed component to the house. The garage component itself was kind of required because right now there's just a exterior carport that isn't very functional for a family. So yeah, there's an in-law suite on the 2nd floor, but the size of the overall project is being driven more by the other pieces of the project. And right now we're kind of planning for the immediate future as the in-law suite, but over time, there's going to come a point where they won't need to be taken care of his parents. Hopefully this is 30 years from now, but the thought is that eventually the house could undergo another interior renovation that would allow it to become more of a, I guess, unified house, which would include getting rid of one of the existing bedrooms and kind of making it a more corridor thoroughfare into this new master suite at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
That our houses on the lots are so deep that I think we still have a huge amount of yard or a large amount of yard
Yeah,
that
mhm.
our entire yard is not taken up. We still have a lot of greenery and green space.
Mhm.
And we have young kids, so we want them to be able to play outside too as well.
Sure.
So I think that that was important to us too, that we weren't taking up the, we wanted to stay within the site coverage, but also we value that space as well. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are lot coverage rules and they haven't been abrogated here in any way. Okay.
Chairman, that's up on the screen for you all to see right here, the lot
Okay.
coverage.
Can I ask a question? So what the only thing that makes this different than a very large addition to the house is the fact that it has like a kitchen on the second floor. That is what the major difference is than it would be otherwise, right? Otherwise, it would just be an addition.
Correct.
And there's not, as far as I know, there's not words that spell this out. But if I had to walk through, it's sort of, it has a door. I mean, you can come and go without being in the other. I mean, right, I feel like we've never gotten like total clarity around the idea of, but in my mind, it's like, well, if I have to walk through the main part of the house, that I would never give someone the keys and be like, here you go, Cap student, you can rent this. That's your place. Here's our place, 2 mailboxes. I mean, to me, that's the concept of it, is it sort of functions as it has a door and like you can come and go without going through the house. I mean, that,
Yes.
But it also has, it has a door to come and go through without going through the house. But there's also a door that
yeah,
directly attaches to.
right. It's more just, not so much about this, but it's always a little bit of a question. I have the same question every time it comes up. I'm like, so when is it and isn't it?
Yeah, so just to follow up on her, so it constitutes a mother-in-law suite purely because the kitchen? Because I've been in other houses in Bexley where they have like a coffee bar upstairs or coffee bar and a dishwasher or something like that.
Yes.
I'm guessing that wasn't a mother-in-law suite. I'm guessing it was just an attachment to the master bedroom, but.
Right. Yes.
So-
That's, the general rule of thumb is to be an independent dwelling unit, you have to have 3 things. You have to have
Right.
bathroom, bedroom, kitchen. And we have said, because our code does not allow accessory dwelling units currently, we always say 2 of the 3 in an addition is fine. Once you have all 3, it becomes either an accessory dwelling unit or an in-law suite.
Yeah, but I guess the question I have is, I mean, if it's attached to the house, like if I went up and took my 3rd floor and put a kitchen, a bathroom, and a bedroom on my 3rd floor, am I going to be, is that a mother-in-law suite? Or if that, I mean, I'm not going to use it as one, but if that's the remodel I want to do for my 3rd floor, because I'm tired of walking down 2 flights from my office to get coffee or whatever, does that constitute a mother-in-law suite? I just want clarity as to why it's a mother-in-law suite as opposed to just a big addition. Like I really don't understand that.
same thing.
Right.
If we applied for it the wrong way.
Right.
Like, should we have just applied for it as an addition?
And like, Jan and Justin will have to go into the new addition to go to their car, and that, at that point, if they're going to their car, they have, free will to go upstairs and basically be in the space. So there's really there's no hard separation.
Okay, so I'm not sure I understand it. If I see this little side door here in the middle of the 2 buildings, right? So is that an entrance that I could go in there and go into the house and into the mother-in-law suite?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And can I go from the house to the mother-in-law suite willy-nilly whenever I want?
Yeah,
Walks in my son's bedroom. so the door is top.
That I would say, well, the only thing keeping you out of my house is a door. I mean, in theory, you can lock that. I mean, to me, it's the thing, again, could you imagine it functioning as an independent thing that you would let somebody rent. And I feel like, yes, this sort of meets that. But to me, it seems like your application could be refined in a way that says the suite is a certain amount of square feet that's very close to what you're allowed to have. It's a little over, but there's a bunch of square footage here that I would argue, like you said. Yeah, like you said, yeah, but like you said, it's like, well, there's some square footage here that is not exclusive to the, you know, the in-law suite. So
Yeah, how much square footage is just that second floor piece above the garage?
it's 1,100. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
29 by
believe,
41.
because I guess the dwelling unit is, or the dwelling space, I should say, is the same size as the garage. I believe the garage was like 1,100 square feet.
You have it as 1549 here in this drawing in the Parkview attachment package.
Yeah, I was excluding the, I guess the circulation piece of it.
It's 41 by 30, right? 1,200.
I've got one other question. The house that's on Parkview that has the big modern addition on the back of the old style house, you know which one I'm talking about? It's on the corner. I'm pretty sure it's on Parkview and I can't think of the street.
Dale, I think.
It's got the big black addition. Or Drexel, I'm sorry.
Drexel, yeah.
Yeah, so I assume they have a kitchen in that addition. Did they have to come in for a mother-in-law suite? Okay.
I can look it up, but
There is a kitchen, but there's not one in the original part of the house.
So they moved it.
kitchen, they might have
They
moved,
moved
I
it.
think they
They
moved
moved
their
it to the
kitchen.
back.
Okay, okay. I just,
There's only one.
Yeah, that's right, Matt, we know.
Oh, So I just, I have a question. So
what?
we're voting on a variance because the allowable size is 800 square feet and this is more than 800 square feet. And then we're voting if we think this is an appropriate in-law suite. Is that, or
No.
what are we voting on? Or what are we being asked to vote on?
We're saying, I think what we're saying is, it's a good question, that you're allowed to do an in-law suite. And it has to be under 800 square, or whatever the number is, 800 square feet, right? And they're saying, hey, we'd like to do one that's 600 square feet larger. And we'd like you to let us do that.
Okay, got it.
And so the answer is, is there enough space here? Yes. Is there enough backyard here? Yes. Is there enough coverage? We don't have to give them a coverage variance. No. But we still do, it's almost like if they were to come in here and convert this to something that's an addition to the house, I think the two kitchens is the problem, right? Once again, the two kitchens make it an in-law suite or an ancillary
Right.
structure of some sort.
Like let's say I want to redo my basement and I'm going to put a full kitchen in my basement. I mean, my grandma had a full kitchen in her basement because she liked to cook, like, for big parties and whatever, right? She
Yeah.
had a whole nother kitchen down there. So that would be, my basement then would be an in-law suite. Yeah, if I had all of that in there. I mean, this seems a little bit different to me for some reason than the typical one we see, which is usually a garage that someone has converted into, like, it's almost a separate structure. This one I think is a little harder for me because you put in a door, well, I guess the doorway's already there and it's all connected.
Well, there's certainly, I can't think of whose house I was in a couple weeks ago, but they have two kitchens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're big houses and they have two kitchens because they want to have parties and they want to have
But to me, that's the configuration thing. I just think, again, I'm not saying you're proposing this. I'm just saying, when I see them, they either read one of two ways. It reads, boy, that would be awkward to have a stranger living there, or that would be pretty comfortable having a stranger living there. And so, I mean, to me, is there, if you split keys and split the mail, would someone say, this is so weird you do this or not? And to me, this is definitely more like a potentially independent thing. I mean, I would be very sympathetic to talking about where the line got drawn to measure the square footage. And it seems like you're not, I mean, to me, it seems like the garage is the problem because it's so deep. If the garage was only 20 feet deep, which it could be, all of a sudden the space that I'm measuring as the suite becomes 41 by 20 instead of 41 by 29, at which point it's about 800 square feet. So the primary living space that we're saying is this suite. So to me, it's like reachable. It doesn't seem like you couldn't achieve what you want to achieve and either need a very, very small variance or no variance. I guess that's
Well,
why.
On that, so technically you could probably take the primary bedroom, flip it with the living room and put a doorway out to the hallway and say that's just an additional bedroom for the main house. And then that stairwell, primary bedroom, count towards the in-law suite. You have the same square footage, but you have what you want. So, I mean, it's really, I mean, I see what you're saying, but, and I agree. I mean, it looks like a full-blown two-bedroom apartment. There's no doubt about it, but I guess what I'm saying too is if it's a big issue with them, they could come in and do that flip-flop and all of a sudden say, no, this is a fifth bedroom or an extra bedroom for the house, and then the in-law suite's behind it, and they meet all the criteria. So I don't know. I just,
I mean, to get through it, you go, I'm taking it, the left extreme is your son's bedroom and there's a door there. And you go through the bonus room into this addition. Is the bonus room an addition or is the bonus room part? It already exists.
It's a, no, it's a deck.
Yeah, right.
It's a full size door with a deck on it right now.
Outdoor deck.
Rubber roof, flat roof.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't just say that.
So is that going to be housed? So it'll be under roof.
That's part of the.
The
Connectors.
Yeah, circulation block connector.
To your point about the rooms and things like that, almost all of the stuff that we've done here is in preparation for my mother living there hopefully for a long time. She's ADA compliant, live in, one of the big things is probably one of the reasons that we're moving to parents down here beginning is because caretakers take such a lot of all of it. My dad is also 70 years old. We don't want to lose him at the same time as her. Having full-time care requires a garage space for them, requires a bedroom for them, requires a bathroom for them. Now this wouldn't be, they sure as hell won't need a kitchen. Like my dad can't cook to begin with. He knows about it, hard to get. But it's one of those like, these are all things that they are adamant about wanting and needing because of their situation.
Yeah.
They being your parents.
I think it's a nice design. I mean, I like it. My view would be, and we should hear if there's neighbors, but I think I'd like to just have a note that says, when we measured that area, we viewed it as X square feet. So that if someone comes in and they want to do a 1,500 square foot in-law suite, we're not setting a precedent for doing a 1,500 square foot one.
And that's my question for staff. To staff's knowledge, what's the largest variance we've given this thus far to an in-law suite?
I would have no idea off the
I'd have-
top of my
I'd
head.
have to call Kathy Rose.
Does this one kind of? Does this one ring?
Not lying.
you got her on speed dial. didn't you?
Yeah, I have no idea.
As far as neighbors, our neighbors were at the architectural review board in our support, and they have offered to come back. We told them what to do, and I'll first we would consider it, if we need it. It's in letters, we're going to need both sides.
So if we took off that part that's right there with a stairwell and everything like that, because it's underneath it, you said is common, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like living space.
It's 1,200 square.
So it's 1,200 still with that. Okay.
But I guess, yeah, and again, my point is, well, the
1162.
depth, the length of the depth of the garage, that you don't have to have. Nice.
Do you need to have the depth of the garage?
This guy does,
Well, yeah.
does a lot of handiwork and, so it would
Yeah.
serve other functions like have a workshop, there's a mechanical room down there. To house the, new water heater.
Can I just ask one question there? Is the size of the garage okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I think there was a comment earlier that the garage would be larger than the original house. And was just trying to be sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's an attached garage. It's not a detached. So our code regulates detached garages, accessory structures, and that's the square footage footprint. But an attached garage is allowed to do it.
Okay, thanks.
Chairman, I highlighted, or I clouded the bonus area. He's not listening.
I do not.
Well,
okay, I mean-
he was highlighting, that's the bonus area with the new roof.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, I just didn't know.
I appreciate that now because this is a good view of it here. I mean, my personal reaction is that the mass of it is not particularly pleasant. But we don't do architectural here, right? But what I think about the design is absolutely nothing to do with anything. This is just a matter from my perspective of we can cut this 18 ways, but I think it's pretty big. And I think that we'd have to pretty much weasel our way to getting this done without setting a pretty significant precedent here. That's my personal opinion. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a pretty big variance. I mean, it's a 50% addition to the amount. I mean, here's what we've got to be careful about, and that is, as long as everybody doesn't have lot coverage issues like you don't have here, we just have to say, what if everybody wants to do this? Is this okay? If Bexley has this on the back of every house, is that okay? Now, not every house is going to build a mother-in-law suite, of course, but you have to kind of think your way down the line, make the argument that takes the concept to its logical extreme, you know? I mean,
if the kitchen was not there though, like,
mhm,
would we even be having this conversation?
no, I don't think so.
What about if the stove wasn't there?
I mean, you'd be having it with the architectural review board as to whether they like your design or not, but that's a different story.
I'd just like to remind, we deal with the Dobbs factors. We need to be very careful that we're looking at massing and not particularly the use. Has there been any contingencies on this that have looked at having the size of the variance?
No, we haven't really gone down that route. I mean,
It just doesn't like. it
Like the
doesn't
four
serve
car
our needs.
garage
Like,
was
it
kind
doesn't
of-
give us what we need to have happen for this variance. To make it much smaller.
Yeah, as the chair said earlier, when we provide variances, that also subsequently becomes a precedent to somebody, and it's a great story. It just the massing is massive.
Well, and a little bit, I'm very sympathetic to the whole exercise, and I think you make good arguments. On the other hand, I feel like, well, the problem is somebody smarter than us said 800 square feet is a reasonable amount of square footage to dedicate to, to this use. And so we can like decide whether we think that is or isn't reasonable, but it's, and if you're asking for 10 square feet, I'd say, well, 810, that's, 820, 850, but it is a lot. And, so that's, I think there's a sort of piggyback on what Chairman Beal was saying. I mean, it starts feeling like, and again, it's not easy, but I think what Mr. Klingler is doing, I mean, you can imagine a world where you say, well, the secondary bedroom aligns itself more with the main house. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, whoever came up with 800 square feet wasn't so crazy. I mean, it starts to feel like, all right, somebody can live in an 800 square foot space and sort of have all the functions they need. So, but that doesn't solve your exact configuration
Yeah,
problem.
Andrew, we, during COVID, I think, how many meetings did we have that? One of our 1 a.m. meetings went on to this, and we were very, very deliberative about this, both then and when Mr. Klingler began presenting it in person. We deliberated the 800 feet a lot, and
As council did. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it feels like not
Mhm.
sloppy math, right?
I mean,
Don't
This
do that
one
shit.
Also, I think something that makes me also question that, like, whether more is okay in this type of lot. This is a large lot. We're not talking, same with that Drexel house. They doubled their house,
Yours.
right?
Mhm.
This
I
is
don't know, but it looks
doubling-
like it.
Yeah, this is, but they have the room to do it. Now, other places can't do that because they don't have the room. There are some very large houses on Parkview that are,
Mhm.
I'm sure, easily this because they have big lots to do so, right? And
That's the
so.
corner lot too, isn't it? On Drexel.
Yeah, but that's my point. I mean, like, they meet all the other requirements, so massing does not, like, the size of it is not as bothersome to me
Mhm.
as, if they can rearrange the square footage to make it work.
Yeah.
I would be more willing to do that, I think, flip a bedroom and see what happens.
Let me ask if there is anybody here in the audience that is here to speak on this particular application. Anybody back there, raise your hand if you are. Okay. I see no indication of that. So,
Matt, sorry, just one last question, Matt. So
Yeah.
if it's defined as an in-law suite, they cannot use it as an apartment. It has to be a relative that lives there, correct?
right.
Currently, they cannot.
Currently,
I can't speak to the future, but
And the owner has to live on site.
Future, or is there,
currently they cannot.
huh?
They cannot.
And it's not just a relative, the owner has to live on site.
Right. Yeah.
If that's the case, we couldn't rent it if we wanted to, right?
We've seen
Well-
some creative stuff.
I see it all. For instance, that house on there. Like, if you go up just a little bit on the thing, I think it's a bigger footprint, you know, that one.
Well, let me answer this. What happened?
That's correct. That's it.
Native.
Mhm.
What happens if, I hypothetically speaking, but you get transferred to New Mexico and you have to sell this house. You have to sell it to somebody that absolutely has a relative that can live in it. Or now what do we have? We have an addition. You're the owner. Yeah, I got you. I was wondering about that. Yeah, right.
I mean, I would, I guess to that, if it was somebody like buying a bigger house on Parkview, if it had 6 bedrooms, it's like only somebody who has the need to fit that many bedrooms buy the house. So they would, it'd be somebody, same deal here. It's like, I need 5 bedrooms. I got 5 bedrooms here that I can fill.
They would have to do what you were suggesting earlier, and that is convert it to an addition. And get rid of the kitchen or something, or whatever they have to do to make it an addition.
That addition, basically,
Mhm.
that doesn't make any difference. Doesn't exclude it from the addition.
Like if the kitchen was in the garage, like one floor below it. Like,
I don't know. Well, the question is, you're going back down to the Architectural Review Board one way or the other, I would say, but I mean, you can have a vote tonight if you want, right? That's up to you. You're the applicant. What? Yeah, well, I don't know because I'm only one vote, but it's, if you don't get it, you're back to the drawing board and you have to come up with something, that comports. If you do get it, then you're going to go back down and they're going to see whether they're okay with the design. If they make a change the design, you're going to have to change some things anyway, and probably kind of have to come back up here anyway, maybe. I don't know. That's possible. Depends on what you do. But the other possibility is you can table it and think through it and learn what you've learned tonight by listening to the comments here and see if there's some way that you can tweak this where your chances of getting more votes are greater. You got here tonight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I know your parents are not getting any younger. You can't wait forever to do this. You got to decide, can we do it or not? And
I think one of my questions too is the direction we should go. So if we, like I feel like we've heard a couple of different scenarios. We can shift it, take out the kitchen and just say it's an addition.
mhm.
Sorry. Or we can flip the bedroom and make it be not that,
Mhm.
like make the bedroom be a part of the house.
Mhm.
Or we can lessen the size. And it feels like
besides lessening the size, it's all accomplishing the same thing. Like it's just a matter of semantics in some ways, right? Or no, am I not thinking about it correctly?
I don't know. Well, I can't tell you how to think about it because I'm not sure I understand, but you know, I mean, you have a 4-car garage, which is really creating the width, right?
Right.
And the living room could be smaller if it were a 3-car garage. I'm just throwing out thoughts for you, right?
Right,
And-
but I think going back to, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, go ahead.
But, you know, I'm not an architect and my brother is, and I don't want to be one. And it just seems like there's some ways to get yourself. I don't think anybody that I'm hearing comments from would say, hey, if instead of 800, you came in here and it was 875 and we just couldn't find a way to make it less than 875. I don't think you're going to have any trouble here. But I think that the precedential nature of what you're doing and the fact that all these little rules are forcing us, see, we're not elected officials, they make the laws. We just try to decide, is this a situation that requires some variance from the laws that they pass, right? We don't have any such authority. And I think we're get close to the edge here on it because of the size of it.
I
And
think going back to, like, when you think about all the other houses on Parkview, that size isn't an issue and we're still within the lot coverage. So this, the size of it, I don't think is the problem. I think it seems like the issue is just the precedence that we're setting of over an 800 square foot in-law suite.
that's right.
So like, I don't think I'm interested in shifting the size because that doesn't seem like the issue. I think if we have to flip-flop things to like play the game, that's fine, but it just feels kind of like a waste of time. Like we're gonna get to the same
Mhm.
endpoint. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Is there
I do.
a definition of what a kitchen is? Like is it the range? You know, if we took out the range and then they just put in like a hot plate, you know, it's like, at
Well,
that point you call it.
See, but now you're getting into, you know, we can't, as a body of 7 people here, answer that question for you. It's because there is an answer. You need to have maybe somebody who's reading the statutes, who's a lawyer or somebody, look at it and say, hey, let me go to the staff and argue that a hot plate is not a kitchen and see if I can convince them that this is not a mother-in-law suite. Okay, this is an addition. Well, now you need to wangle your way that law, so somebody else will on us, as opposed to have us 7 people try to figure out how to do it here. Well, a lot of people bring lawyers in here, yeah.
Just have something that makes it not the kitchen, then I think you just vote on it as an addition.
Yeah, we wouldn't even be voting. Right.
There you go. You wouldn't even be talking to us. You'd be back
Okay,
at
can
Architectural
I
Review
just-
It's
Board.
the precedent of people coming
You want me
with
to
that
not-
in-law suite variance that
Do you want me to not go here? I can read you the kitchen definition in our ordinance.
Yes.
Okay. Kitchen means a definable area or room for food preparation, typically consisting of a permanent cooking appliance for use in food preparation, a refrigerator, cabinets, and a sink, usually in close proximity to another.
There you go. See, that's why you get lawyers to read through that kind of junk and decide, you know, what is this and what can we do that at least creates the argument that this isn't a mother-in-law suite. Because I don't think can get around that today, that it's a mother-in-law suite. Because it has those 3 components in it and it meets that definition that you just read. So
Well, I think it was submitted as that.
I'm sorry, yeah, and it was submitted to us as such, right? Yeah, thank you, Heidi.
Vote today,
Mm-hmm,
now,
mm-hmm,
go back to square
mm-hmm.
one. That has-
Okay, so now they have to file a new filing fee and I want them to,
You know, kind of easy way of dropping it because of what-
Yeah, we could discuss the filing fee, but yeah, I would just need an ARB application to properly track it. So I would close this one out and you would open a new ARB application. That's all.
So it can't-
We could I would want that for our record keeping purposes, but when it goes, you could go back to ARB just as a new number. Right, in January, you wouldn't lose your place in line, so to speak, but just for future, when we're going back and seeing, was this a BZAP, you know, was there a variance on this property or not? I wouldn't want a BZAP and then someone's confused when I'm gone. So.
there's no harm to you said yes, a no vote or a vote at all.
I was listening to his thoughts still. There's a lot of thoughts. I'm sorry.
You could,
I wasn't trying to train.
you could vote. However it goes, if you have to go back to ARB and you delete and you don't have a new application without a variance, you could certainly do that. The next ARB meeting is January 9th. So you have to go.
Yeah,
So
you're
just,
good.
I would ask that you just resubmit your documents as an ARB number as opposed to a BZAP number for just, it's for our,
And that's.
it's for our purposes.
That's just for the record. It's not gonna change your place in line.
Right, but like we would do that because we would file as an addition, because we're taking out the kit. It's like if we were
Correct,
to file as an
correct.
addition.
The kitchen.
But if this board says no, if I'm ARB, I say, well, I don't want to hear this case because it's not approvable. They won't be able to get a building permit.
Change some.
But that's what I'm saying, right? So, yeah, so at that point,
So-
I don't
To
think
your
it
point,
matters.
Andrew, they've,
I think it
ARB has not seen the new design,
Right.
right? So they're going back to ARB.
One way or the
But
other.
I'm saying, yeah,
It needs
that
the same-
it won't, it'll have to be something that wouldn't need a variance for
Correct,
ARB to hear it.
correct.
Or sufficiently different variance that
Per-
there's a chance that maybe we would pass it because we've already voted on this one in that scenario and said no.
It almost seems like this one is better to come here first and go to ARB second.
Well, that's basically
That's-
what we're doing.
That's,
I understand.
that's why we asked ARB if they would be okay moving it without a motion to you all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they agreed.
That is exactly the point.
That's why we did it.
You are smart.
Well, thought you might be mad at me actually, but thanks. Here.
But it doesn't make sense to design this to death without, if
Yeah.
this isn't gonna pass here.
Okay, well, do you want us to go ahead and vote? I'm not sure I really see too much downside in it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just gauging the temperature is that we should table it, but what's different here than when we were at ARB, I felt like with ARB it was, it was a little more clear as far as like, okay, we need to kind of,
Do XYZ.
do XYZ for the,
Do what?
XYZ to
Oh, yeah, yeah.
match the
Yeah, I understand.
aesthetics.
Write the date
Whereas
down.
here, it's like,
Design has never been more clear than
it's like
zoning.
we've already talked about like the size is not an issue. It's only because it has a kitchen in it. And it's just like, I don't want to take square footage out of the house or, out of the addition when it's like,
If I could be very, very clear, it's not semantics. It's what you're applying under. It's the variance for the code that you're applying under. It's not semantics.
But and also, we're not, even though Chairman Buhall doesn't want to be an architect, what he said is architectural feedback, which isn't up to us. So, and for the record, it's just, I just feel like I don't have an opinion exactly about the scale of it. It's just that I feel like when I look at it, I'm like, you gotta help me get closer to something that doesn't feel like we are just making up our own rules willy-nilly. And it says 800 in the code, but we're gonna be fine with 12. So to me, it's like, we gotta figure out some way to like get me something, somehow by some definition that we can kind of agree seems reasonable, feels like we're closer to 800. That would be my perspective on it. It doesn't have to do with making it a smaller volume. It just works too well like a 1,600 square foot standalone thing currently. And so somehow that needs to get modified. But to me, it doesn't mean making it smaller or necessarily fewer square feet. It's probably less efficient because this is very efficient and thoughtfully done. So it might be more expensive to build the thing that does that, but it's a hard situation we're in because what we think is reasonable and what the code says aren't necessarily the same things.
I mean, we find that if you table it and you think you can go out and talk to your parents, talk to your architect, figure out ways to make the living room smaller, get rid of the third car garage. There's 100 ways you can gerrymander this thing around. I'm using a bad term in Ohio right now, but nonetheless, then we can't really sit here and figure that out with you. Whereas if you table it, you can go to the drawing board, you can do machination, you can CAD it 16 different ways in 20 minutes probably, right? And see what you can or can't do to get the thing to work. See if your parents are okay without a kitchen. All these kinds of things are out there for you, but If we vote and you don't get it, well, then you could still go out and do that and reapply. Go back to the drawing board. I mean, I'm not sure I see much disadvantage in getting a vote. All right. Are there any other questions or comments from members of the board? Okay, I think we can call the question. Oh, we don't have somebody to call the question. Karen, you could call the question.
So we are voting?
Yeah, I guess we'll vote. You
Yeah.
want us to vote?
Do you guys want us, do you want us to vote?
Also, I'll just tell you how I vote. I mean, I don't know if other board members are comfortable. I'll just tell you, I can't vote yes for the way it is currently. So there's that. I mean, so
here's what's gonna happen. If it's voted down because it's an in-law suite, then you're gonna change it and either remove a bathroom, change the size of the suite, and then you're gonna reapply and go to architectural review. And that's if we vote it down. If we table it, I don't know, but it sounds like you may not get it approved tonight, which means you're gonna probably make the same changes, and then you're gonna have to come back in front of us. So if it gets turned down, then you make the changes, and then you just have to go, you don't have to come back here again. But if you table it, then it's still a matter for zoning, and then we have to come back and approve the new design, so that would be my recommendation. I don't know whether everybody else thinks the same way, but.
You guys are the only ones can make the decision, and it has to be whether or not you're willing to cut the size down. If you're not, if you're like, this is just what we want, 11, whatever, go for the vote. And then if you get turned down, which I actually have no idea what's gonna happen based on what I'm hearing. But if you get turned down, then you have to redo the design, or not the design, but the floor plan and size. I mean, I wouldn't.
Go to the mic though, because regardless.
We have to vote on the 1539 or whatever it is, or can we vote on the part that's not common? Like, can we vote on 1100 instead of 15, or do we have to vote on what we applied for?
We've changed the verbiage a lot, over the years. I don't feel uncomfortable, but it's really up to Matt whether we change that. If we really want to say like, okay, upon discussion, really the calculated space of the in-law suite is 1161. I don't think it's going to make a difference in the way people are voting.
Okay. I didn't know if it, okay.
And also, do they have is there an appeal mechanism for our decision? Just out of curiosity?
There's appeal mechanism for everything.
Right, so I don't think you want to do that, but you can. I mean, if we vote, that's another option you have. Is to say, well,
Karen, I have a question. If they submitted this drawing and where it says secondary bedroom, bath, laundry, and kitchen, and they drew a box around that and they said, that's the mother-in-law suite. And then we're also building a living room and we're building something else.
Oh.
Would that not?
Are you looking at the floor plan?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just, so yeah, the floor
Mhm.
plan, because the square footage problem is because they're building a second bedroom and they're building this, huge living room and they're building all this other stuff. I mean, when I look at this, I see, it's not 1,500 square feet for the in-law suite. It's much smaller. But if you go to the second floor, I mean, couldn't they just come change the drawing and say that the in-laws, we're building a 1,500 square foot addition and the in-law suite is 800 square feet in that addition? And then if they did that, they wouldn't even need to come back to us.
Well,
to be clear,
I
if
do think there are ways that you could reconfigure the upstairs that would make a smaller in-law suite and have more shared living space. It may not be what you want, but I think you could have shared living space for your.
You were saying,
From-
you were just saying that
If,
square on the right
if,
side there.
if you change the drawing and it says kitchen, laundry, bath, secondary bedroom, second primary bedroom, and then this just says guest bedroom, and you circle all that and you said that's 800, whatever that, it's probably less than 800 square feet, and you said that's the mother-in-law
We're
suite,
saying the same thing.
then,
and I'm just saying,
I don't know how.
Put a wall and a
that
door.
wouldn't just
Well,
be
he's not saying a wall door. I think that's the difference.
I'm not saying, I don't know why you need a wall.
I wouldn't be comfortable with the semantic change, but I think there's an architectural change where,
Right.
but I don't think just drawing a line and saying, abracadabra, this space doesn't belong to it belongs equally to the existing house and to the new thing, I would say, well, that's BS. I mean, there's no real, I mean, it's just not true. But I think you could redesign something that
Yeah.
where that would be true.
But I don't think you can resign it tonight.
No,
We have too many other cases, people waiting to have their cases. I think you need to do this in a more academic setting than here. And not that there aren't some academics on this board or that you're not academics, but it's just a matter of you need to massage this thing somehow because here's what you need. You need 4 yes votes out of 7. So 3 people can vote no, you can still win, right? But I don't know how that's going to go. Your judge of how they're going to vote is more important than mine.
But I think to answer my original question, are we voting on 1529 or vote on 1100 or whatever?
Couldn't see how we could vote on something that's not before us.
Yeah, I think you'd have to show us how we're getting down to 1100.
The part that's not common.
yeah.
Do you, like, not where the elevator and steps and hallway are? Yeah.
I don't,
I don't know if it makes a difference, but it's feels like less square.
1162, to get it down to 1162.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the.
To me,
true-
that's totally fair. I mean,
Right.
that's
We've,
just doors.
you know, I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not, but in past years, we have a lot of times tweaked upon discussion, realized that the variance was worded incorrectly or the square footage. I don't have a problem with that at all, because that's truly the in-law suite. I don't think it solves your problem.
Okay. I don't know if it would help the process.
From a design perspective, you mean?
From a vote perspective, I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone who's gonna
Yeah, it's too big. Yeah.
vote no for 1500 is not gonna all of a sudden be convinced by 1192.
Uh-huh. I think that's right. I think that's right. That's my gut reaction as well, but
I
Once
think
again-
Mr. Rosenthal is right. I think you can get everything you want, massaging it in a way that creates a much smaller, not much smaller, but a 800 square foot in-law space. Um,
Okay, we'll go for the vote. Right? We wanna go for the vote?
Yeah, I mean, like I hear what you were saying earlier about, we massaged it to the point where we wouldn't have to come back here, then yeah, even if we massage it, we have to come back no matter what.
that's right. Vote and see how it goes. And
I'm good. I'm comfortable with that.
okay. All right,
Okay.
Matt, give us findings of fact and conclusions of law on this one, please. Or that's your job now, Karen. Karen, you're just a
Switching things around.
jack of all trades.
The findings and facts and conclusions of law for application BZAP 2435 for property located at 470 South Parkview. For the request that a certificate of appropriateness, that an area variance from Bexley Code section 1252.17 to allow, are we going to change it to 1192.48 square feet? Oh, I need to write that down. No, and I'll just do it right here.
Hold on. You want the area variance, so it would be to allow an area variance of what's 1192 minus 392 square feet area variance.
392 square foot
Area variance.
area variance to allow area variance to allow an in-law suite above a new attached garage. Attached garage. Based on the testimony presented, the board finds it appropriate to grant the variance. That's it.
And contingent upon returning.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And the applicant, with the condition that the applicant return to ARB for final design approval and certificate of appropriateness.
That sound good to you? Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the findings of fact conclusions of law, please?
so move Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Is there a second?
Second, Dorn.
Thank you, Ms. Dorn. Mr. Klingler, are you the one calling the roll, or Karen, did you take that over as well? All right.
Mr. Eshelbrenner,
No.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Ms. Dorn,
I'm gonna say yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes, and I'm basing it on the fact that to me, it's just an interior wall layout issue that they're gonna solve anyway, so I think we should help the citizens of Bexley and allow them to get what they need to take care of their elderly parents. So I'm voting yes.
Mr. Schick.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal. No. Chairman Harriman.
Four votes. Good luck. It's a good project. I mean, you know. All right. Good luck at the ARB too. Might need more help there than you do here.
For the record, if any client came to us, we would recommend exactly what just happened to get them to win. Isn't that? I mean, you know you do it. You know you do it.
Thank you. Project. Good luck.
No comment.
Wow.
Just what side of the coin are you looking at?
I don't know.
All right, the next application, thanks for being patient, everybody, is BZAP 24-40 involving 2075 Fair Avenue. Mr. Alexander is here as the applicant and the owner is Mr. William Bundy. Mr. Alexander, if you would raise your right hand to be sworn, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you give the board this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. All right. Who's going to give us the staff perspective on this baby? Mr. Klingler.
Pull it up here. Okay, so this is a classic weird layout lot that we love in Bexley. Corner lot. It's at the corner of Park Hill and Fair. The original platting of the lot plats it to Park Hill as the front yard. So kind of how you see here. The site already has a fence on it. It's a wire mesh fence, right? The applicant needs a special permit for a height variance to install, or I'm sorry, an area variance to install a new 5-foot ornamental black fence. I think Gary, you're replacing the wire mesh, right?
We are replacing the wire mesh.
Yeah. And then because it's such a quirky layout, they need a slight, so this is considered the rear yard. This is considered the front yard. They need, the rear yard is a 40-yard setback in this zoning area. And so they encroach with a new sort of mudroom addition. Why is that so? It's 6 feet, 7.5 inches into the rear yard setback with an addition. Pretty small variances. It's a really large lot. Staff is in support of these variances. Not much to this here.
All right.
The Architecture Review Board voted. Sorry, the Architecture Review Board voted on this as a consent agenda item and had no issues with it at all.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Alexander, you want to give us just a little more insight as to why we're doing this and
I think the lot is the issue because of the unusual allocation of the setbacks based on the original plat. The addition, the majority of the six feet plus or minus addition, the majority of that is just a covered porch. So most of it's actually exterior space. So the interior space is really only encroaching a foot. And with the fence, I think we're meeting the spirit of the code with the fence because first of all, it's going to be, most of it's going to be obscured by significant landscape that's there now. And also there's even more landscape that's going to be added. The landscape plan has been included. The grade change that occurs between Park Hill is pretty significant between the elevation of Park Hill and where the fence is located. So what you'll see is about 2 feet over the height of grade at Park Hill because of how low that fence is going to sit. So in terms of the height and in terms of the landscape, I think we're meeting the spirit of the code. There's also a precedent in the same block. There's a house on Westland that in the front yard has a very visible, almost identical fence that is very, very visible. So I don't think we're introducing something that's unusual in the neighborhood.
all right. Members of the board, or you have any questions of Mr. Alexander or any comments? Is there anybody in the audience that is here pro or con this case who would like to speak? Thank you very much. I don't see any indication of such. If there's no further questions, we could get a finding of fact, conclusions of law on this matter.
So moved. Schick.
Okay. Karen, please.
Fact, conclusions of law.
We have a second. We have a second.
Second.
No, there's no
March.
motion yet. We need to hear the findings of fact first. He
Oh, I'm
just,
sorry.
he
Okay.
just jumped the gun on us a little bit.
Yeah,
there.
that's what I was.
He's
Motion.
anxious, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, the findings in fact and conclusions of law for application number BZAP 24-40 for the property located at 2075 Fair Avenue. Based on the testimony presented, the board finds it appropriate to grant a certificate of appropriateness for a bedroom addition, a 6-foot, that's the right one.
Yeah, 6 foot
7.5 inch rear yard setback area variance from Bexley Code sections 1252.09 and an area variance from Bexley Code 1264.02 to install a new 5-foot tall ornamental black steel fence in the front yard. Now,
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the findings of fact, conclusions of law? Mr. Schick, I can't derail him. He's already done that. So is there a second?
Did you ask him?
Is it?
Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
He did ask you? I agree with the findings. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
I'll make
So
a
moved.
motion.
Schick.
Is there a second?
Turner. Second, Turner.
Yeah, okay, thank you. With the motion and the second, Mr. Klingler, will you call the roll?
Ms. Dorn,
Yes, and it's a big improvement to what's there in your pictures.
Mr. Rosenthal,
Yes.
Mr. Schick,
Gary, great work. Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Eshelbrenner,
Yes.
Chairman Beehall.
I vote yes as well, and the certificate of appropriateness is granted and the variance as well. And thank you for your patience waiting through that last case and your clients as well. Thanks. All right, the next case is case BZAP 24-41 involving 2111 Park Hill.
it is.
The applicant is Stephen Schwab and the owner is Patrick King. Sir, if you would raise your right hand, you swear or affirm that any testimony you give the board this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your name, please?
Stephen Schwab.
And your relationship to this endeavor is?
I'm the architect and applicant for Mr. King.
All right. Thank you very much. Karen, what does the staff have to say?
I'll start with the architecture review board. and then
Okay,
zoning.
okay.
I'm just gonna say it. The architecture review board. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Let me start over.
That's
The architecture review board, really liked this a lot
Mhm.
architecturally. Thought it was beautiful. In fact, they went into a deep dive in how to improve the soffits, the overhangs, adding the eave, decorative eave to match and sizing it appropriately. And the applicant agreed to do all of that. So, there will be changes to the original application, but they're only improvements to match the existing with detail. If approved, here.
All right.
Mr. Hires favorite house in Bexley.
Okay,
On the record.
fair enough.
So
It's Mr. King's favorite house in Bexley also, I have a feeling.
yes, so most of you probably know this house. It's the corner of Park Hill and Westland. Applicant wants, so it's a corner lot. The corner lot setback, building setback for this zoning district is 25 feet. So basically where the primary structure ends, sort of right here, if you see up on the screen. The garage is right here off of the auto court. They would like, the 2-car garage is not even wide enough for a second car, really. So they propose putting a 1-car garage right here. The landscaping is going to almost hide it from the view once it's mature from Westland. There aren't a lot of example, there's not, the setbacks vary widely along Westland, so it's not out of character for the neighborhood. Staff sees no issue with this variance.
Okay. Mr. Crowe, what do you think? Can you tell us anything more?
Pretty good start to the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, just a couple things to reiterate before we dive deep into the conversations here. This is a project in the making for a little over about a year and a half now. We've been to the drawing board numerous times already, placing a new garage within the build limits on the site, and the quirkiness of not only the grade, but the house placement, you know, and the corner lot and Westland really put this design challenge, brought this design challenge forward. And we've settled on a position here where we feel architecturally this single car added garage or attached garage, really, while it sits in the build area or with outside of the build area, excuse me, it does not impose any kind of real detriment to the streetscape, the surrounding neighbors. As you all know, the street's heavily used both by pedestrians and cars, and being on the hill that it is right at the intersection, the actual addition has it actually was afforded for several rendering. So it really is unimposing, but at the same time, architecturally, I think stimulates what character and charm is already present in the house, while kind of meeting all the needs that the client needed to facilitate two cars. So again, while the magnitude of the ask, is on paper kind of seems large and egregious, within the building setback, if you look at it in actuality, coupled with the nice landscaping, we really don't feel like this is going to, I guess, be, give, I guess, make it seem like it's an egregious project at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
My observation is that the applicant, or kids are good friends, that their cars don't have bumper cars around them, because it's what, 4,800 square foot house with a 1-car garage. I mean, how they are able to navigate is pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, the auto court itself is important for us to maintain the use of that, just for the maneuverability of getting in and off of Westland, and so keeping that intact, making sure that you have the space to pull in, to turn around, to back out is really important for day-to-day use.
Mhm.
Chairman, if I may add something, just to let all of you know, if you're looking, I forgot to add one thing. They come in just under the lot coverage ratio. So I know you see a lot of buildings and a lot of stuff there on the lot. They are, I know that came up in the last, I forgot to mention it. They are under the lot coverage. We confirmed.
That's good to know.
This is gonna seem like a weird question, but was there any thought to actually making this slightly bigger, like pushing it up against the existing house and making it a 2-car garage?
Actually, that was one of the schemes that I had played around with. Is the addition that was put on. Actually, we don't think it does the existing house actually any justice architecturally speaking. So have just an extension of that really proved to be a difficult challenge to.
Okay, I just
vary in the materials.
from what he said about the size of the house and the number of people there, I was like, I would wonder if they could get a 2-car in there, but okay.
That's a great question.
Is there anyone in the audience that is for or against this matter, wishes to speak? Okay, thank you. I don't see any indication of that. All right, I mean, it's a fairly, as you say, egregious intrusion into the setback. On the other hand, this is a very unusual situation. The lot, way it sits, etc. The topography is also interesting there. Anybody have any thoughts or Are we ready to call the question?
Sure.
I don't see any
That's good.
further questions, so
So move Schick. Oh, wait, finding, God bless.
hold on, I'm in charge here.
Really stealing my thunder.
No, really, his and mine too.
You must have somewhere to be later tonight.
He might want to be the chairman of the board.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay for us to just do these together? This
It is in this case, yes.
The findings and fact and conclusions of law for application number BZAP 2441 for property located at 2111 Park Hill. That a variance, that based on the testimony presented, the board finds it appropriate to grant a certificate of appropriateness and an 8-foot 6-inch area variance to encroach into the street side yard setback for a new attached single bay garage addition with the conditions of the design changes stated in the recommendation of the Architectural Review Board.
Okay, does that sound satisfactory to you? Thank you, Mr. Schroep. All right, do I have a motion to approve the findings of fact conclusions of law?
So move. Turner.
Is there a second?
Second.
You said 8 foot 6 inches, but,
No, 18 foot.
oh,
6
okay, I was
inches.
like, whoa.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thanks, sorry.
Is it Ms. Thorne? Yes.
Second,
Turner.
thank you. All right, Mr. Klingler, please call the roll.
Mr. Schick,
Yes.
Mr. Eshelbeiner,
Yes.
Mr. Turner.
Yes, I just have a quick side note that I think this is the first time that I've been on the board and voted on a house in this general vicinity of Park Drive. And I think it's really weird that we have two houses that are right there.
Yeah, on the same
Yeah.
night.
I know.
Yeah, good
I mean,
point.
I admit at Park Hill, I was like, where in the world is Park Hill? I had to look,
Yeah.
I had to look it up. I know most of the streets, so, just thank you. Like, new part of the neighborhood. So,
New place for you to
yes,
walk.
yes, I vote yes. I walk past this all the time.
Ms. Dorn,
Yes.
Mr. Eshelbeiner. I already called you. Mr. Rosenthal,
Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Chairman Behal.
I also vote yes in this situation, and your variance and well, I think it's only variances we got here, so they are approved. Let's skip it. I'm sorry. Congratulations and good job. It's a nice project. Next case is BZAP 24-42 involving 295 North Cassingham. The applicant is Kieran Smith. The owner is Jennifer Zmuda. The applicant is seeking variances from Bexley City Code Section 1262.04 to convert an existing garage, attached garage, into a bonus room and from Bexley City Code Section 1262.01A to convert the existing driveway into parking spaces. All right, sir, your name?
Smith.
Kieran, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give the board this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Klingler?
Back to our favorite 3 straight corner lots.
Yeah, right,
Yep.
exactly.
This corner lot is at the corner of North Cassingham and Maryland. The front door faces Maryland. However, the original platted lot is the front yard is off North Cassingham. It's in the R6 zoning district. Lot size is 65 by 150. There's a 15-foot street side yard setback on the Maryland Avenue side. The side yard setback on the north side is 6.67 feet. So this is a strange one. They want to convert the garage to a bonus room. Our parking code says in the R6 zoning district, you have to have 2 off-street parking areas exclusive of driveways. So if you eliminate the bonus room or you eliminate the garage, that eliminates the 2 parking spaces. And if you eliminate, then they're eliminating the driveway and they would like the 2 parking spaces to be on the driveway. Now, we've talked before, our code does not allow driveways to be located in the front yard that do not access rear yard parking. However, this is the side yard. They don't have a driveway in the front yard to access rear yard parking. I was,
But is it
the
still,
first time I had seen this.
isn't it not a driveway anymore if it doesn't go to a garage?
Correct. It's not a driveway anymore. They want to convert it to meet their required 2 parking spaces. Now, our garage code, our demolition of our garage code says detached, you cannot demolish a detached garage without a approved plan for a new detached garage, but this is an attached garage. And Karen and I both spoke, and the change to it, they're basically taking out a garage door and putting in 3 windows, so we didn't feel it necessary to go to ARB. So ARB had no they did not see this. It is coming to you, and then it was a minor architectural approval from Karen.
But if we assume the garage isn't a garage, what's the variance?
For the parking spaces.
But they're
For the-
providing parking spaces. What's wrong with these 2 parking? Why don't
Because
they count
the code doesn't, I mean, the code doesn't, you have to designate those as parking spaces.
Yeah, the code, the intent of the code is to have rear yard parking. So if this were, the front yard, but it's the side yard, the intent of the code is not to convert a driveway.
I get that. I
to
understand that,
to
but I'm
have
just
parking.
saying, but I don't understand why they need a variance. I mean, this is, if they wanted to build this tomorrow, they could build this, couldn't they? Or why would they need a variance? If this was another empty lot and they said, here's our plan.
Right.
That's not a garage, that's the bonus room, and these are our 2 off-street parking spaces. Why would they need a variance?
They would have to have rear yard parking. And currently it's not rear yard parking.
It's not
Currently it's
behind.
side yard because it's not a part,
So if that thing
currently
moved
it's not, but they convert the boat, yeah, right.
12 feet into the back, what's the
Yep.
backyard, into the
Yep.
fenced area,
Yeah.
just like it is, curb cut and all, it'd be fine.
I did ask if there was a plan for a garage or some sort of parking area in the backyard, and he did say yes, within, a certain 5 years or so, but that's not in the budget.
That's the intent.
That's-
She wants to have one.
The intent, yeah. And there is no alley here. The alley dead ends into Maryland from the south.
So if those 2 cars in that driveway slide to my left, 15 feet, so it's behind the bonus room, then they would be totally fine.
Well, no, because the side yard, that's a side yard, so it'd have to be behind the rear principal and out of the side yard. And we consider the side yard, like that's the side yard setback on a corner lot. The side yard it doesn't run to the rear part of your house. It runs all the way to the rear property line here for our code.
So, I mean, it strikes me that what we're approving here is a parking lot in a setback. Is that okay?
That is why it's before you.
No. The question is, does that require a variance? What we're saying here is we're converting a driveway into parking spaces. But if the question is the parking space, it's okay to convert his driveway into a parking space, maybe, but is it okay to be in the setback?
So parking structures and parking lots per our code are considered accessory uses, and accessory uses and accessory structures are not allowed in the side yard.
Right.
Accessory uses and accessory structures, however, that's parking lots. And the way the language reads, to me, that says more of a commercial parking lot. This is a driveway that they want to convert to a parking. To me, this was not, I was confused a little bit. I mean, to me, this is not a parking structure. It is a parking space. Our code addresses parking spaces. I would concur with you, and I viewed it as a parking space as an accessory use to the structure, and we don't allow accessory uses in the side yard. However, this is corner lot, and you can see what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, I can see what they're.
So,
I mean, so what happens to the rule of you can't have a driveway that doesn't lead to a garage?
you can't have a driveway. I can pull up the code. Because it kind of reads, you can't have a driveway in the front yard that doesn't lead to rear yard. So the intent of the code is you can't stop your driveway in front of your house and just have 2 parking spaces in front of your house. It has to lead to not necessarily a garage, but 2 rear yard parking spaces. But it doesn't say a driveway in the side yard. It says a driveway. It addresses the front yard. Well, their front yard is up here.
I have a quick question. Is this, would you consider this existing non-conforming at this point?
No, because that's not a parking space. The car closest to the street shouldn't, by code, ever be there.
Correct. It's not existing non-conforming because you have 2 parking spaces in a garage. You have an attached garage.
In the garage.
You have them in the garage. Those are considered your parking spaces.
And even if it was a one-car garage, you could count the garage and the car we see would be the two. I mean,
You could.
So can I ask a question about one of your drawings? There's a drawing that has, is that the current state of it? It's under, there's like two,
So there's
like one, two,
there's
three.
Plan pages. So
Okay.
the first one with the red on it, the red
Yes.
dash lines, that's the demo plan. So that is the existing conditions. And the one right below it, the next following page is what the intent is to do.
Okay, the one with the car on it is the demo.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
got it. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
But you're not demoing the car itself.
Well, we're demoing that part.
Okay.
So is that a one-car garage?
I think it's technically.
One, like a 1.5.
Yeah, it's a tight fit.
So then if it's a one-car garage, then it already has one place on the parking pad.
Which I guess I understand is conforming.
because it's
Mhm.
inside the side yard
Yeah.
setback.
Mhm.
It's
So
the
then you
setback
just
that
want
becomes
one
the
more.
variance.
Excuse me.
Okay, is there anybody here that's for or against this application? You're for it because you're the owner. Okay, fair enough. All right, I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did put that on there. 1262.04, no spaces, aisles, or any portion of a driveway that does not access a rear yard parking space or garage shall be located in the front yard. It does not say shall be located in the side yard,
So,
but it addresses this portion of the code addresses whether or not you can have a driveway in the front yard. There's the other portion of the code, when you get to an accessory use and accessory structure, says that it can't be, an accessory use cannot be located in the side yard.
So I guess that was the portion that I was confused about as non-conforming, because that driveway in an ideal situation would be way off to the side yard. Is that right? Because if it's.
Right.
House in Bexley, they come
Mhm.
on the side.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm saying is I don't know how relevant it is, but I'm just saying that the driveway is currently existing non-conforming as it is.
right, unless, and I wrestled with that too. I mean, because I looked up, well, we always talk about, well, what's the actual front yard? And the code says it's how it was originally platted, or if there's a call to question, the board determines what the front yard is.
mhm. Okay,
So in your picture, like of where the cars are parked,
Yeah.
can they park side by side in that driveway?
get me off. Can't go back to the.
So technically they could park side by side and they wouldn't be then in the area we're
Setback.
concerned about.
It might be a tight fit.
We define a parking space, 9 by 18.
Oh,
So it would have to be
never-
18 feet
Okay.
wide.
Forgot about that point. That is what.
All right,
yeah.
thank you.
9
That's-
by 18 and
okay,
9 by 18.
Got it.
You know what the width is?
18 feet long, 9 feet wide.
It's it should be on the drawing. So it's 12'6" driveway width wise. So a 9-foot parking space is gonna take up, yeah.
I'm sorry, Chairman, we've got new ones.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry,
Here.
don't worry. It's me. It's not the machine.
There you go.
Did they order new ones?
Oh, no, it's a brand new one. We haven't officially set up. We haven't officially set up yet. I tried to get them on the internet to Dropbox versus the app, and we got 4 new iPads. Not enough chargers.
so even if they were. They walk into the driveway, such that the cars could park side by side, there would still be a variance involved here. Is the variant, I'm
Well,
sorry,
the variance would change, but yes.
because one of them would be in front of the back of the house.
Yeah. It's not rear yard. Because now technically it's rear yard. Because it's a garage, which is not a living space, and the rear yard starts at the back corner is the closest living space. So right now, that living space starts right there. So that's, their side yard goes all the way from front to back.
So they need 6 more feet to widen it.
They would need at least 18 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.5.
So, once again, I'm kind of worried about I mean, I think as you look at the photograph of the place, you know, there's a big fence that comes out to the street, and I assume that's your fence on that lot, right? And so the fact that you're parking two cars stacked, you can't even see it coming from the direction toward the house from the west. But I mean, you know, you start getting into, okay, can you park a car in a non-driveway in the side yard setback? And what kind of precedent does that set? I don't know, you know.
I share that concern. I mean, again, the reality of it doesn't bother me in this case for all those reasons, but
Yeah.
committing to forever having cars parked in what amounts to yards, even if it's on a driveway, is a bummer. I mean,
Yeah.
conceptually,
I think people do that all the time.
yes, 100%.
I think they do too.
They do. It just becomes an enforcement issue. This way, it's
Right.
technically not enforceable.
Right, in this
Right.
case, there is none.
Right.
Okay, here we go again. Are there any additional, I mean, I don't think there's any questions about what's happening here, is there, or any confusion? So it's just a matter of whether it is approved by the board or not. So with that in mind, does anybody object to calling the question? All right. Karen, can we have findings of fact and conclusions of law?
Yep. The findings and fact and conclusions of law for application number BZAP 24-42 for the property located at 295 North Cassingham. Based on the testimony presented, the board finds it appropriate to grant a variance from Bexley Code 1262.04 to convert an existing attached garage into a bonus room, and from Bexley Code Section 1262.01A to convert the existing driveway into parking spaces.
Okay, does that accurately depict what we're doing here? All right. Do I hear a motion to approve findings of fact and conclusions of law?
So moved, Eshelbrenner.
Mr. Eshelbrenner, thank you. Is there a second, please?
Second, Schick.
Thank you, Mr. Schick. All right, Matt, why don't you call the roll? We'll see what happens here.
Mr. Rosenthal,
I am a no.
Mr. Turner,
I'm a no as well. The reason for my no is I believe that I would probably vote yes if the cars could be side by side in front of the garage, but I don't like the fact that it's sitting in the city right away. So that's my reasoning for no.
side yard setback,
I would
Just-
reiterate that.
What?
not city right. It's more, they're not in the right of way. They're just in the side yard setback.
On the setback, sorry.
I just wanted, yeah,
Yeah.
Thanks for the clarity.
no worries. Michael, Mr. Eshelbrenner,
No, I share Mr. Turner's concerns.
Ms. Dorn,
No, I agree. I think if they were side by side, it would change.
Mr. Schick,
For the following reasons. No.
Mr. Marsh,
No.
Chairman Behal.
My vote's totally irrelevant. As usual, I'll vote yes. No, I vote no. I vote no. I'm just joking. I agree with the analysis of setting a bad precedent for the side yard setback. I mean, I just think it's a bad precedent to set. And I think there's other ways to get where you're going there. So anyway,
If I may, Chairman,
yes,
just for the record,
yes.
you all vote no for for pretty much the same reasons from what I gathered.
Yeah,
Correct.
my vote for no is the same as Mr. Turner's explanation. Now, I know on these no votes, we have to almost have a new motion. And that motion is that we disapprove of the findings of fact, conclusions of law, whereupon if you vote yes to disapprove, you have to state your reasons so that there's a record against which they can appeal the decision. So if you do not mind, can we have a motion that says we disapprove of the findings of fact, conclusions of law? Please. Thank you, Marsh. Thank you, Mr. Marsh. All right. Once again, please call the roll, Matt. And if you vote yes in favor of this motion to disapprove, yes to disapprove, then state your reasons, please.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes, and it really just has to do with the precedent of creating a situation where the only option is to have a car parked in the side yard effectively permanently, which, as we discussed, seems like there's ways where, you know, you could get that car into a code compliant location or, you know, build a garage or, so.
Ms. Dorn.
Yes, I don't disagree with converting the garage into a bonus room. But I don't agree with putting the garage in the or the car in the setback or a parking spot in the setback. I think, you know, there are, like we said, different ways around that, and that's why I voted that way.
Mr. Turner.
I vote yes for the same reasons as the previous people. If I need to state it, I will state it. Do I need?
That's adequate to say what,
Okay.
that you believe their reasons are your reasons.
Yes.
Mr. Eschermeyer.
Yes, their reasons are also my reasons.
Mr. Marsh.
Yeah, yes, their reasons are also my reasons.
Mr. Schick.
Yes, their reasons are also my reasons.
And Chairman Behal.
I vote yes, and my reasons are also the same, that the precedent is not a good one to set. Thank you. Sorry about your defeat, but you might be able to figure something out here to get yourself where you're going. Thank you very much.
Kieran, call me if you have any questions. Once we turn that bonus room into a living structure, then we got the rear yard moves back, but we can help. I can try to help you figure something out.
Well, we can't do any work. We can't do any work on it as is, right? We need a variance.
Right.
If you change where the parking is, if the parking
Yeah,
goes to the rear yard,
I guess
yeah.
At that point, it wouldn't need a variance, is what we're saying.
Oh, correct. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, if you have any questions, just call me. That's all I was saying. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
All right, the next case is case BZAP 24-45 involving 333 North Parkview. And the applicant is Matt North. The owner is Jimmy Conroy. The applicant is seeking a 30-foot height variance from Bexley City Code Section 1264.02 to install, a 6-foot tall black steel fence in the front yard of this property. Sir, your name?
Matt North.
Mr. North, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give the board this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. All right. Matt, this sounds like it's one of yours.
I was gonna mention that. It's a 30-inch.
Or did I say foot?
Variance. Yeah.
That would be quite a fence, 30
It'd
feet.
be
Man, yeah.
Quite, be building the wall.
You got one of those things that the kids climb up. You know?
Thank you, Chairman Behal. This property located at 333 North Parkview is in the R1 zoning. It's one of our larger lots, interior lot, 143 feet wide by 223 feet deep, 1264.02. C says you are not allowed to have a front yard fence taller than 42 inches. This fence that they're proposing is a 6-foot fence. It will have a minimum of 50% transparency, as it's, I believe, a black wrought iron steel fence. We do require landscape plans with that. The landscape plan, I just wanted to clarify, it's going to be behind these trees that are on the screen, right? Okay, I thought that was the case. You sent this over, and I didn't know if they were building this or not.
Plan is they're going to, but that has nothing to do with
Right.
us.
Okay.
We're the fence company, so that part is.
Yeah.
100% sure on what they're gonna do with that, but it is going to be behind trees.
Behind these trees. Okay, great. The location of the fence is on your screen. I think there was a little bit of fencing in the back, but that doesn't apply to this variance. So I left that kind of off, or I actually put it in your packet, but this is the variance that is before you tonight, the location of this fence. And there's a picture of the fence. Pretty straightforward.
Yep, I think it is. Questions or comments from members of the board?
It's steel, not aluminum.
Is there anybody in the audience at all? There is not, I don't see, so there couldn't be anybody comment.
Thanks for staying.
Yeah, he's a big guy, couldn't see behind him, you know. So. All right, we have any comments or questions from the members of the board? If not, any objection to calling the question? If not, I don't see any. Karen?
Findings and fact and conclusions of law for application
Sorry,
BZAP.
I got just one question.
Sorry.
Turn your mic on and say that again.
Is there a reason why it is taller than 42 inches?
Wanted to do, felt like. I guess he was having deer issues coming into the front yard, eating his bushes, and I guess there was a break-in behind him. And he's very, I think he owns a security company, so he just wanted something that deer and people would not be able to scale over.
Not easily, at least.
Does anybody remember the fence that's farther south on Parkview, how tall that is? The house that they did all the work on, across from Ms. Fibel's house?
I don't remember the size.
What house?
Is that a shift house?
I don't think it's.
Olson.
Does anybody remember the fence?
Don't.
We approved one down there. I just don't remember how tall it was.
Remember, I don't
Are
remember.
you talking about the Olson's house? That,
I don't know. I don't know who the owners.
that had a lot of brick wall too. I mean, I don't know what the average, I mean, I don't know what the height of the fence.
And this is the one on Parkview, kind of across from Lorianne's house.
Yeah, that's
that's
the
it, that's
Olson's
it.
house.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine.
Under street gang?
I just didn't remember.
I did, Chairman, if I could ask a question, actually. I
Sure.
Didn't get an answer. Are you installing a gate or is the fence going across the driveway? I forgot that.
We
I
are
meant to ask.
installing the gate, but he is going to have the company that does the.
Gates.
Like the automated.
Oh,
gate.
gotcha. Okay,
So
thank
they
you.
are- but That's not part of this request.
Okay, thanks.
But that should be, just, you might want to just mention it to the owner. It should still be an application that comes through for just aesthetic review.
Okay, yeah, I'll mention. I did have a question on, like, up against the private drive, since property runs pretty close to that private drive, is there a setback from the street? For that?
No, there's not.
As long as it's on the property.
Yeah, I would highly suggest, and I tell this to everyone, to get an iron pin survey. You don't want your fence in the right of way and then have a code violation, and then you don't want your fence. It's, you take on the liability of where you install the fence, so you don't want it on that private drive's property.
Okay.
I would suggest that.
And I think they have it,
I'd have it.
they have it pinned off and then they have like a line running for the whole property line, so that should be a problem.
And I always give the advice, it is neighborly to let your neighbors know you're putting up a fence.
Yeah, I recommend that. Remember last year?
All right.
Guy game.
We have read the findings of fact, conclusions of law.
You ready?
Yes.
Findings and fact and conclusions of law for application number BZAP 24-45 for the property located at 333 North Parkview. Based on the testimony presented, the board finds it appropriate to grant a variance from Bexley Code section 1264.02 to install a 6-foot tall black steel fence in the front yard.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the findings of fact, conclusions of law?
So move Marsh.
Second, please.
Second, Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Matt, want to call the roll?
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Dorn,
Yes.
Mr. Schick,
Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Eshelbrenner,
Yes.
and Chairman Behal.
I vote yes as well. The variance is granted, and good luck with it with the 30-foot fence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
30 foot.
Yeah. No.
If I could ask one question before.
Yes.
Does anyone on the board have major issues with what happened tonight where ARB moved it to you all without a recommendation?
We've been doing that a lot.
No.
No.
Past couple applications, but we have. I just wanted to make sure there's no major issue with that.
No.
Nope.
There's some circumstances where I think it would be pretty much a waste of their time.
Yeah.
That's what we thought on the last one. I mean, we're not going to try to do it all the time. I just want to make sure you guys were okay with that we did that.
Might be a good point of discussion at the commission meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
You know,
Good idea.
Yeah.
Looking for topics.
Mhm. Yeah.
Your mic.
If I was counseling someone, I think it shouldn't matter, but human nature being what it is, something that seems compelling and a great addition to the neighborhood architecturally is more, or if it comes with a strong endorsement like the non-conforming garage we voted on earlier, it's easier, I mean, candidly, it's easier to grant a variance for something that comes with either clearly, so I'm saying if you bring something that's a piece of crap and ARB punts and it ends up in front of us, I think someone's setting themselves up for a lot harder thing in my mind.
Right.
That would be the advice I would give somebody. It's
Right.
not legally a channel I'm describing. I'm just saying that I think that's human nature. Is when you said ARB loved this garage and they made a bunch of changes to make it even awesomer, that made me more comfortable with that variance than I would have been if it was clear that ARB was like, I don't know, maybe they won't get BZAP approval and then we don't have to,
Mhm.
argue with these people anymore. Set off my neighbor.
Gotcha. Understood.
I think we would always encourage people to go to area first. I think it's more of the
Mhm.
not well designed or not thoroughly designed, I should say, that we
Mhm.
hunt here first.
Well, I think the mother-in-law suite has got some serious architectural
As
aspects to it. I'm not going to say what I think because it doesn't matter, but I think that might be a bigger hurdle than this, even though I do think it's kind of dangerous to reformulate the request here.
Yeah. I
You
don't-
know, and say, hey, if we move, it's a matter of moving walls and that kind of
Well,
reasoning.
yeah, but I think what it was more like what Karen said, it was more like this is poorly worded. It's not, we're imagining something that's not in front of us. It was really the ask should have been this, not that. I'm 100% in agreement with well, I voted no anyway, but with what you're saying about like, imagine this wall's not there, we move it here. I feel like, well, I cannot
Yeah.
imagine, I'm not being
Yeah.
paid to imagine
Well, and
at this.
let's face it, it was a big living room,
Yeah.
just a little, you know?
Well, just to be, I
All
mean,
right. Thank you. That's all. I just want to make sure nobody, yeah, you guys, we're on the same page.
And there's
I
not,
appreciate you.
so there is something going on with trying to further define in-law suites. Is that true?
we need to.
We're, yeah, I mean, land use commission is currently meeting right now, and there've been several recommendations from the public and from that commission to investigate accessory dwellings, which is why I mentioned currently. It is
Yeah,
not,
can,
but accessory dwelling.
so are they
units.
leaning towards,
Yes.
has there been discussion about letting them be apartments?
There's been, yeah, discussion with guardrails, basically, certain guardrails
I know
around
Columbus has done that.
the code language.
What?
Columbus is allowed
Yep.
above garage apartments.
And in the,
Carolyn?
honestly, a lot of that, planning, or what is it? The land use
Land use
commission.
commission.
A lot of it was fueled by public input and the public hearing. I think it was a surprising level of support among people who came to
Mhm.
several meetings to say, we think that's like something are interested in seeing happen in Bexley, which I think everyone was surprised about.
And I think a lot of it is not necessarily apartments that you're gonna rent out above garages. It's exactly what was
Yeah.
here tonight.
and to be, to give a lot of credit to Ben, Mayor Kessler, I don't know how many of you were there, but we had a gentleman, a professor, I think from Oregon.
Yeah.
Come in and give a lecture about ADUs. I mean, it's a huge national trend and it's a good way. It's a very productive way to deal with the housing shortage. So
Hmm.
it's nationally, it's been going on for a long time. That was about a year ago, I think.
That was the one at Jeffrey, right?
Yeah. it
That was a great event.
It was a great presentation. I don't think it would be a mistake to repeat that or put it on YouTube if we have it. If this moves forward so people can understand what we're talking about, because it's all over the building magazines and, in our profession, you see it.
I just read those articles.
I think we should entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting, and then we can turn our mics off and have further discussion.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned.
gotta have some there's gotta be some configuration.
I just said and, right?
Like, a second kitchen, a second